good discussion with lots of points of view, and we came to a common approval of, I think, what we've got here. In the words of the article say more than 67%, so I don't know what it is that we will rediscuss, change, in a different discussion. With respect.
All right.
So is that?
You want to go around the board and get a
consensus for it or not?
Well, yeah, if the board wishes to go that way, I mean, I have one vote, I can't overcome 9 of the.
Hey, instead of waiting for another month, I guess is what I'm saying. If the consensus now is, let's just move on and let us get this thing done.
I think the only, I'll say deference to John, because he and I have had some subsequent discussion of this fact. I mean, when we originally discussed this, we had 2 motions on the table. One was to immediately restructure, or 3. But at the last minute, the last 2 were combined. We were going to have a...
And we voted.
And we voted, right.
So we made a decision. And one of the issues that every board faces, and we haven't done much of it, and I just, we had one topic tonight that we're doing, but we have enough business to do that if we make a decision, unless there's something radically wrong with what we've done, we shouldn't then start going back and re-examining decisions we've made, because it takes more time to that. This is important enough.
Well, I'd rather devote time to issues that have to deal with, $20,000 up front and $18,000 a year for the life of the issue than worrying about, for example, whether we're going to park on roadways or not.
Well, that's an opinion.
It is an opinion, yeah. I respect that. It is. I'm sorry, Will. I'm sorry. But I think
all right, John, listen.
Yeah.
You proposed to bring up an issue that the board has already settled.
Yes.
You have a right to do that.
Yes.
We go around the table and get a sense of the board. And the sense of the board is opposed to that idea. Will you withdraw your proposal to put this on the August agenda?
I guess the only thing I can do then is go back and read the governing documents and see if there's a plan B that I can fall back on. Because I'm not comfortable. You all know I'm not comfortable with this.
But that's different than the
I
more than
understand.
67%, right, John?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is. Yes, it is.
So it's
Yes,
not
it
the
is.
more than 67%?
No. It's
It's a
the
whole
It's the
discussion.
whole discussion. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, my issue goes more to this document. I mean, there was a very lively discussion about whether or not we should do this. And this document makes it sound, well, it costs $20,000. It doesn't cost $20,000. It costs $20,000 and $18,000 in the near term every year, at the same time that we have to do the dam. And that's what the whole discussion was about. This kind of makes it sound a lot more simplistic than, or a lot cheaper.
It is
Then
an
it-
option.
It's cheaper in the long run, but the problem is that we don't, the whole focus of this discussion that took 2 odd hours was, yeah, if we had an unlimited budget, of course we would have done this, because it was cheaper in the long run. The discussion focused on the fact that it was more expensive in the short run, and the short run was when we didn't have any money.
Okay.
The discussion was centered around, and we don't want to do this debate again, I believe, Joanne, debated of whether you just, knowing a mistake, you're going to continue, or you
Right.
correct it. There's only one way to correct it, and that's to put it to the membership. That's what we're doing.
Right.
But, okay, let me just make a comment on that. We're putting it to the membership, we're putting it to the membership in a way that it's preordained to go the way that certain people on the board want it to go. If we really put it to the membership as a referendum, let's face it, there has been, I thought, for example, there would be a tremendous hue and cry when we went public to this. There's been nobody has come up to my house, thrown rocks at me and said, what a dumb thing you did. Nobody cares out there. So we're going to take it upon ourselves to be, you heard my argument. The issue is it's $20,000 up front, it's $18,000 a year for 5 years. I think before we commit to that tonight, we ought to see the budget that's coming forward for 2009. You're going to see some fairly significant changes, some fairly significant increases in that budget. And I think before you go ahead with this, and impose on every one of our people an additional $18,000 a year, you ought to see the impact. This board ought to see the impact of the dam and what it's going to have on the assessment that our people are reluctant to pay as it is.
Just a minute, my turn. Don, how can you ignore the fact that we have a governing document that absolutely mandates us to go to the membership and get permission to do what we have done?
We didn't do it, Wayne. We made that was the error. We screwed up.
And once we discover that error, how can you possibly promote the idea that we ignore that error?
Well, this is the same discussion we had the other night.
Of course it is.
And you're going to, get sanctimonious again on me.
Well, probably so.
Well, I just don't see it that way. I see that this board and I have a fiduciary responsibility to go forward in the best interest of this community. And I firmly believe that spending $20,000 up front and an additional $18,000 a year for the next 5 years is not in the best interest of this community.
We simply can't ignore our own laws just because it's convenient and just because it saves a little money.
I'm sorry.
That kind of self-serving decision, we have to stay so far away from.
Wayne, we had that discussion before, and frankly. It is not illegal to ignore your own government. If you made a mistake, there is no, but we don't want to get into that discussion again.
I'm going to have it right now. We made a mistake, and there's no law against making a mistake if you come back and correct the mistake once you understand you made the mistake. We found out we made the mistake, and we have walked away from correcting it. And I think we are in so much jeopardy of a lawsuit against this board for having knowingly violated our own governing documents. Sitting here and not fixing a problem that we know we have, I think we're all in jeopardy of getting sued. And our insurance company won't cover the liability because we did it knowingly, not by mistake.
I disagree with everything you said.
You didn't make the mistake knowingly.
I completely support John in this. 100% support John. I want to have this argument again.
Okay, let's do it.
I want this on the August agenda because we made the wrong decision the last time we considered these three. The decision we should have made was to
Well,
pay
if we're going to go with this, we at least have to
pay the $20,000 and fix the problem that we knew we had and take the liability off our shoulders. Because when this liability hits us with a lawsuit, you're all going to be hiring individual lawyers.
No, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong.
Our D&O insurance is not going to cover us because now we are knowingly making a mistake.
No.
So I want to have this debate again.
D&O insurance is covering us because we are acting as prudent businessmen. And that's why I wrote you that paper that says the business judgment rule comes into play here.
We are knowingly violating our own governing documents.
Why don't we get a reading from our new legal firm as to whether what you're saying is correct or what I'm saying is correct?
It's adding to the cost.
It'll add to the cost, but it'll settle once and for all. If the legal firm comes back and agrees with Wayne, I will never bring this issue up again. If it comes back and agrees with me, I would hope that the board would take the same position.
Cooler head that you always are.
This was a difficult one for all of us, and I know that. But coming back to where I was before, I'm proposing that we made a decision, and I would like, whether John accepts it or you accept it now, I would like to know if the board wishes to reopen this discussion.
Okay, let's take a straw poll. I want to reopen.
I totally agree with Wayne.
It's good.
For totally different reasons.
I didn't say that. Total agreement with Wayne.
No, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
There's only two of you that voted.
Ken?
I'm not in favor of talking about it anymore.
No?
I don't want to talk about it
Joanne?
anymore. Yes.
3. Susie? Pat?
No.
Robin? Mike?
Done.
Okay.
Mark,
The sense of the board, John, is not to bring this up again. I disagree with you all, but that's why we have a board.